Hey everybody, it's Heidi. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today's video is my completed pages for April 2023. This was a little bit of a weird month for me because I got sick and I have been sick for a while, just getting better now. So I started out strong and ended up not so great. So I'm going to go in order because it's a little bit of a narrative because of the sickness. So let's just get going. So the first page I did this month was in Peaceful Village of Dreams, illustrated by Forrest Diver. This is a Julia Rivers book. And I did this page. This is my first page in this book. And this one really stood out to me because it's so cute, it's so adorable. It's these little fox people and their herd of bee creatures. That's my interpretation. And there's a little balloon and some pretty flowers. It's just so cute. Let's see. So I used Ohuhu alcohol markers to base everything. And I used Crayola pencils on top for a little bit of shading. And then I used pearlescent glitter glue just on the little bee wings to give them some sparkle. I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but yeah, I'm really happy with how this page turned out. I was in Peaceful Village of Dreams. And the next one that I did was in Misfits number 2, the zombie one. And oh, I forgot, I was gonna pull out the watercolor from last month. But if you saw my last month's completed pages, you'll remember probably. I took that marker out. Yeah, so anyway, this is the original page. And I made a photocopy and traced it onto watercolor paper and watercolored it last month. And so when I was putting this book away last month, I took out the photocopy and I was just thinking that I should maybe do something with it instead of just recycling the page. So I decided to do a different version, like different color scheme and everything, because I really like this page. So I did this in Limachet alcohol markers as a base, except for the background. There was nothing in the background, it was just white. But everything on her is alcohol markers, and then I use Crayola colored pencils on top to do the shading, and then all the background is distress ink. So I used a little, like a soft fluffy brush, which gives it a kind of a unique texture that I like. So I used like purples and blues, and then I went in with some green, and that really like made it pop, I think. Sort of really brings the whole picture together. And then I I just created a border with black Sharpie because some of the, the distress ink was kind of going around the edges in a not so nice way. So I just tidied that up a bit with that border. And yeah, I'm very happy with that. At least I didn't have to ruin that page. I just made something out of it, so it's good. And then the next one, I was still going strong. I will let you know when at the point where I got sick, because everything changes. So I was feeling really good about my coloring, feeling really inspired. So I was looking through my old Coloring Heavens and saw this one, and this is the one that this is issue 48, Adorable Aliens by Matthew Larson. And when this first came out, I did a couple pages. Excuse me. I apologize for the coughing that will probably occur in this video. So I worked in this quite a bit, actually, and I had a lot of fun. So I pulled it out again and did a page in here. I did this page. It's called Wenzel Slug. And so I did the slug with Lemon markers, alcohol markers, and then I shaded it with Spearfarben pencils. And then for these black columns, these were there. They were outlined with black, and I just decided to go over them with acrylic paint. And I like the way that really makes the character pop off the page. Yep, so that was Adorable Alien special. And then the next one I did was in Pop Manga Coloring Book by Camilla D'Erico. This is a book that I'm working in from the beginning. I'm not sure why I chose to do that, but I did. So this was the next page that was to be done. So I did this with it, and I really like how this one came out. This was a struggle, a little bit of a struggle, or it was a process, let's put it that way. Not really a struggle, although there were points where it was very ugly and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. So let's see. So I started out with a base of watercolors, except for the hair. The hair is just colored pencil, but the octopus girls' bodies, I based with watercolor, the background, and down here. And the background looked really sloppy and messy in watercolor. And so that's where the ugly part came in. So I started going over it with pencil, and that helped a little, but still wasn't looking great. So I went in with a whole bunch of distress inks, and especially this blue part at the top, not so much down here. And I just, used a lot of distress ink, went in again with pencil, and when I started making these curving lines here, that's when it started to look a lot better. So it looks like an underwater scene. And then finally I made these little bubbles with white Posca. And yeah, I did a bunch of shading with pencil on the octopus parts. Let's see what I use both Crayola and Color colored pencils. I ended up using Crayolas mostly because they just handled better on top of the watercolor, because the watercolor gave it a lot of tooth and the colors were just too soft. So I needed a harder pencil to work with. Yeah, I'm happy with how that came out. It's in Pop Manga by Camilla D'Erico. And then I did a page in Color Art. This is a magazine that I picked up from Joanne Fabrics, I believe. And I did this page with gel pens and glycerin. So yeah, I applied glycerin to, you know, each of these little spots, and then put down the gel pen and blended it together to create this like more blended effect. Several different, maybe 3 different colors in each one of these. I started making a video to demonstrate this, and then it just didn't work out. It was kind of a mess. But I kind of intend to do that at some point. Let's see, so there's some glittery gel pen, if you can see, I don't know. Yeah, I guess you can kind of see the sparkle in the sun. And then the rest of it is regular old gel pen. And then around the edge, I originally started to use alcohol markers down here somewhere, and this paper is just terrible for alcohol markers. I don't know what it is about it. It's really great for the gel pens and glycerin, not great at all for alcohol markers. So I ended up just going over it with acrylic paint, and then going over the lines again with a Pitt pen. But I like how this came out in the end. That was in Color Art. And next I did a page in Dimensions by John Wick. I did this page, and this one I used a color palette from Sarah Renee Clark's Color Cubes. I put it back in the box. I didn't keep it out to show you, but it was basically these colors, very spring-like palette. I used Lemachet markers to color it originally, and then I went over with pencil, I think Crayola pencils for the shading. And I think it turned out to be really pretty, very springy. It was a lot of fun to do. So I was in Dimensions by John Wick. And then one more where I was still going strong. This is in Snow White, the Spanish version by Fabiana Atanasio. And I hadn't colored in here, so I was looking through it and decided to tackle a page, or 2 pages, I guess. So I started out with this side, and I used Ohuhu markers, water-based markers, on these little snowflakes. I don't know if you're going to be able to see. If I bring it up, you can see maybe I did some stippling. These are the dual brush markers, so they have a really fine liner tip and then a brush tip. So I did just colored all of these in and did stippling around it. And then I was looking at this page and thinking, well, maybe I could tie that in with these same colors somehow. So I decided to use the same purples and blues in her dress and make it kind of a double page spread, sort of. So, excuse me. I used the Ohuhu water-based markers again in the roses, and in the leaves, and where else? I guess I can't remember. No, a little bit in the apple, and a little bit in the hair, and some of the details of the hair. And then in the background, I use Crayola Super Tips for that dark gray, and then actually Crayola Super Tips on the columns of this structure, and colored pencils for all the shading on top. of everything. And I think that was it. I didn't have any glitter or anything going on. Yeah, so I'm quite happy with how that came out. And it was in Snow White by Fabiana Attanasio. And then at this point I got sick and I was so disappointed because I was going strong, really inspired, wanted to keep going, and then you know how it is when you're sick. I couldn't do anything for like a week, but in between, you know, lying on the couch and sleeping, I found that I could work in here. This is Lots of Dots by Anna and Sheena, and it's a fun book. It's just circles of different colors, and you fill them in with the colors. Very simple. So I did many pages in here over a period of about 2 weeks. When I was up to it, I just pulled out my Crayola Super Tips and did a page, and they go really fast. So I did this page, and this one, and this one, and this one, and that one, and this one, and all the way through the flowers, through the leaves, into the birds. I did that bird, this toucan. I really like this toucan. And this owl. And that's where I stopped. That's where I started feeling better. So that was in Lots of Dots by Anna and Sheena. But I'm really glad that this kind of book exists for those times when you just can't do anything else. And then when I started to feel a little bit better, I started working in this one. This was a buddy color with Jennifer Bickerstaff, Coloring Jen 1975 on Instagram. We decided to do a page in here, and this was a page we chose. And I worked on this probably for 4 or 5 days, just kind of off and on when I felt like I was up to it. So this one was a lot of fun. First of all, it took a long time, but it was a lot of fun. I used Prismacolors, but I also used the Prismacolor colorless blender on everything because on this paper, I just find that the colors don't really pop unless you blend them in. I don't know. I did another page, maybe I can demonstrate. Like this page here was Prismacolors, and it's very pale, even though they are light pale pastel colors, but part of it is needing to blend them, I think. So I used the colorless blender, which took quite some time, but I like the way it came out. And it's actually really fun when you're layering the colors to see how it's going to turn out, because it looks completely different before you blend them. Let's see, so I did that. I used some Uhuhu water-based markers just in a few areas, like these dark gray details on this cloth, and then these leaves over here. I used the markers for that. I used white Posca for the moon and the little details, highlights various places. I used some stickles for the stars. I don't know if you're going to be able to see the sparkle. I used a color called Glisten, which is very pretty. And then I used some pearlescent glitter glue on the moon and the reflection. just to make it a little shimmery. So yeah, thanks Jen for this buddy color. That was fun. It got me out of my sickness, or it accompanied me through part of my sickness, which was nice. That was in Romantic Country by Erie. This is the first tale. And then, so that was the that was the high point of the month, I guess, like the last page that I really felt like I was into. And then the last few, I just kind of lost my mojo, and I just kind of pulled out stuff just for relaxation, or just, I don't know, just to do something. So I did this page in Balance by Auntie Grace. This is one that I'm working in quite frequently. I'm just going through from the beginning, and I used ultrafine Sharpies on this one, and I quite like how this one came out too. I like the color palette. So that was that one. And then I did a very simple page in my Spring Walk by Rita Berman. And this went really quickly, but it was pretty fun. I did this page. And I used the Ohuhu water-based markers to base everything. And then I went over with Color colored pencils for a little bit of shading. And I used pearlescent glitter glue in these green bubble thingies. Try to show you this machine. I don't know. So that was in my Spring Walk by Rita Berman. And I did a page in 40 Coloring Pages by Sun Life Drawing. This is from Animal Mosaic Color by Number. And I used Lemon markers. And the colors kind of came out a little weird, I think. It's okay. Some of them I had to go over a couple of times because it just wasn't looking right to me. But it was fun. It was, you know, relaxing. That was in 40 Coloring Pages. And then I did a page in The Greatest Hits by Jade Summer. And this one came out much different from how I was expecting, but I ended up liking it. So I did this page from Relaxing Flower Designs, and I got new gelatos this month. Oh, and a side note, even though I wasn't coloring a lot when I was sick, I was doing a lot of online shopping. So there will be a large haul coming up at some point. Yeah, so I got new gelatos, was one of the things. So I was just experimenting with them. I was applying them dry to this flower, and it was just kind of, a little underwhelming. So I started going in with a Sharpie, ultrafine Sharpie. And if you can see, I don't know if it shows up or not, some of these up here are much darker black than the rest. And I was trying out different pens, and eventually ended up with Sharpies. But if you notice that, that's why. So I just did the outlining with the Sharpie, and then it looked all horrible. And I came really close to just giving up on it, but I kept going, and I pulled out a gel pen, or a paint pen, a gold paint pen, and I went over. I'm sure you can see if it hits the light the right way. It's very shiny, So I just did all these little dots with the gold paint pen and also with the Sharpie. Little dots everywhere, and I ended up liking it quite a bit more than I started. So yeah, that was good from Jade Summer's Greatest Hits. And then I did a page in Mini Pusheen, and this was also playing with my new gelatos, and I used King Art gel sticks too. So on this page, I was applying them directly to the page and then blending them out with using various things, like trying out different things like the little sponge tools that come with the gelatos, and some little soft tools that are made for pan pastels and different stuff. My finger, you know, just whatever would work. And it actually worked quite well. Some of these, I don't know if I can remember which are which, but actually the King Art gel sticks blended really, really nicely that way. So here's a tip, like if you take a little, like an eyeshadow applicator to blend out King Art gel sticks, or any kind of gel crayons, I think, except maybe gelatos, it works like a dream. At least it did for me on this page. So I will definitely be doing that again. It just blends so nicely. Anyway, and then I did the background with a Lemachet marker, and then I used some Sparkle Pop gold gel pen for the stars. And yeah, that's it. That was a fun page, pretty quick in Mini Pusheen. And then the last one of the month was in Mandala Meditation, and this is Shutterstock Images. But just did a really quick one, pretty easy, with Crayola Super Tips in pinks and oranges and yellows. And this was, you know, I did this in an evening, and it was fun. So that was the last thing I did this month. That was several days ago, and I'm recording this on the 29th. So I'm a little bit in a slump still. I don't know. I imagine I'll get out of it soon, towards the beginning of May. I hope. Anyway, I hope that this month was a better coloring month for you than it was for me on the whole. Hope everyone's doing well. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and thanks so much for watching. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.